On this episode, the OG, director and all-around creative, T. Smiff, stops by. Let's go. Roll sound, roll camera.
Yes.
I'm with my man, 50 grand, T. Smiff.
Boogie, how long I know you now?
Man, we'll just say 20 years.
Okay.
We ain't gonna go all, but it's been a minute.
Yeah.
The journey's been real. We've known each other for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as friends, creatively.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you probably cut something of mine like early, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
we used to share After Effects notes and
the
tips
lab
and stuff.
Yeah, it was when people didn't even know what After Effects was. It was kind of like this. It was new. So
that was what year was that? Because I was on Jefferson
right. You was right around the corner. You know, I should come and check you out at your spot.
I was 26. No,
we gonna get you know.
But wow.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, you used to live, because you moved out of Brooklyn now, you in Jersey.
Yeah, I'm in Jersey for the last 4 years. I've been in Jersey.
But
I'm still in East New York doing all my things.
And you born and bred Brooklyn, so it ain't going nowhere. So,
Kings County Hospital.
We've known each other a long time. You know, did we meet in the Spike Camp?
Probably on Clockers, because that's when I came in.
Right,
Clockers. I was an intern on Clockers with the locations department.
Right.
You was already in the mix.
Yeah, I was. You know, so that was the beginning for us. That 40 acres, boot camp for many years after that. You know, so it was. You know, you think back and it's like, man, it was. That was a journey. We didn't know it at the time. We was just kind of.
We didn't know at the time that we were in the golden era.
Right.
And that's what I'm starting to realize now. Like that time, we was from 91, 92 to 94, 95. That was the golden era. And then simultaneously, the music video world was popping.
Right.
So it's like, that's
when Diddy was spending money on video. That's when they would spend a lot of money on music videos. A lot of it was waste, as they later found out. But
and hype.
Right, and hype was, the big videos, the big budgets, the just kind of...
Hype had from, 90 to 91 or something he came in. And
he probably was doing a video a week.
I remember when we was working with Hype, we did Belly. We did Cast Him on Belly. We did a couple of his videos. I had casted the Nas, If I Ruled the World video. I remember... At that time, that's when 35 millimeter really
shooting film,
started like moving from the cinema world into the music video world. And but that hype ever was
that was.
There's so much to
talk
about, man.
And so we were talking about this earlier about that parallel between music, hip hop, and film. You know, it's kind of like the worlds always kind of crisscross. I mean, hype to me was the best representation of those worlds colliding, because he was in the video world heavy, then he got into the feature world, but those worlds always kind of lived, together simultaneously and then sometimes commingled.
So that started in 83.
Oh, you going back.
That started in 83. That was Star Wars and Wild Star. Both came out in 83. So who was that? Charlie Ahern was Wild Style, and Sam Pollard, who we both know.
Right. Part of 40 Acres family.
Cut Style.
Did he cut Crush Groove too? And I know Ernest Dickerson shot Toughen Up. Did he shoot Crush? I think Ernest Dickerson shot Crush Groove.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Interestingly enough, too, about Beat Street, I mean, we just going all on, but like Beat Street, Harry Belafonte produced that.
Really?
And Stan Lathan directed.
Right.
Sanaa Lathan's father.
Right. Who's still in the game. So, just the music.
But that was 83. That was 83, 84. 84 was Crush Groove. I'm lying. 84 was...
you're going to the phone. You're going to the bat phone.
83
the research.
Was that... 84 was Breaking Beat Street and Breaking 2. Breaking 2.
Oh my God.
Breaking and Breaking 2 came out the same year.
I think you're going deeper than some people can take.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? Because that's unpacking some stuff that's kind of like... There's some people that's probably going to Google those movies because they never heard of them. You know, because that was so
that's where
early in the, that was so early in the New York film game. But to me, a lot of people, older people, younger people, you know, sometimes black film started with Spike. You know, if you really look at it, you know, sometimes, you know, people say the black exploitation, you know, 89, so you know, just late 80s into the 90s. You know, I know it started before that.
But like from Melvin Van Peebles to Spike.
Right.
It was just Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor.
Right. There was no real filmmakers. They were just kind of comedians and actors.
I think you know, there was
George Schultz,
like,
you know,
stuff like that. But it wasn't like it wasn't
an influx. The influx came in the early 90s.
Like, you Spike was the Exodus. Spike was the Exodus. He
was the Exodus to, you know, the New Jack City, the Above the Rim, you know, all of these films happening in New York. Boomerang, you know, Risky Business. It was a time in the early 90s where film in New York, it was like, it was crazy.
91, 92 was where, like, right after She's Gotta Have It started really doing this thing. Then it came out with
and Hollywood Shuffle, let's not forget Robert Townsend. One of my favorite directors that I had the pleasure of working with. Nice. I love Robert Townsend.
And cool dude?
He's the coolest. I want to be him, basically.
You ever work with Chris Robinson?
I worked with Chris Robinson years ago on the music video.
They got that same, because Chris is like the coolest dude.
Robert Townsend is an icon. I'll just say, I won't even compare the two. I'll just say that. But Chris Robinson is my man, 50 grand, and I love his work. But Robert Townsend is, you know, is over here to me, you know, in my heart, because it's kind of Hollywood Shuffle. I know that movie about verbatim. I love that movie. So, but you know, anyway, so the 90s.
Yes.
Hip hop and film were on speed in New York.
So, not to keep hogging back on the beginning of 83, but that's Russell Simmons, if you really look at it. That was Russell Simmons.
So he produced Crush Groove.
You know, and this was after Beach Street and all that. Right. So there was that first part of the culture was hip hop, which is an interesting.
Right. I mean,
which is an interesting
hip hop and art. And we'll go back to like Madonna and Basquiat, which inspires me as a painter, a newfound painter. But those worlds were intermingling: music, art, hip hop.
Who was in between all of that is Fab Five Freddy.
Fab Five Freddy.
He is the one dude in my research alone too that I see was the one factor between Manhattan scene, Brooklyn scene, Bronx scene. He's the one common denominator that pops up amongst the film culture, the music culture, the art culture, all across the 5 boroughs.
Right.
So he's a gem, man. Fab Five, man. Like if you out there listening, you're a gem, bro. Right. Because like just all the research I've been doing just shows that he's been
He's been there.
He's been there. He's been a part of all of them elements,
which is amazing. So how do we take that, that early 90s, that golden era, and there's a debate now about hip hop and what is a golden era and whose golden era is it, and just that's a debatable thing, and is this film thing a debatable thing in terms of the golden era, or is it a golden era for our generation, but now is it a new golden era coming?
No, you can't deny numbers. Like I said, like we talked about 91. Look all the influx of all the movies, because we're not just talking about I'm staying specifically to New York cinema. You can't just look at just the fact that movies would drop with black people in it. It's the extras, what we're talking about. The extras behind that got work every year, the actors around the time. The crew members, the black crew members that never would have worked if these movies ain't never come out. Like it's that
people that were able to join the union, like myself, being director. I was like, I never would have joined those opportunities. Kevin Lassen, prop man. So we know a ton of people that we've come up with that if they didn't have the opportunity, they would have never gotten to continue.
And that goes into what we were talking about too, like, okay, when Spike and She Gotta Have It came in, that's when it wasn't a culture before that, in my opinion. It wasn't a culture before that, because hip hop was coming up, so everybody's attention was on that, and it was hip hop trying to do film. Right. You understand what I'm saying? When Spike came and She Gotta Have It, now was the film aesthetic. The film
and hip hop had a part in the film aesthetic. It wasn't the other way around.
Because She Gotta Have It is a hip hop.
Mars Blackman is a hip hop
influence
dude. Sneakers.
So She Gotta Have It essentially came out of that hip hop cinema rush.
That New Jack Swing kind of New Jack City kind of thing.
Yeah. And then Spike just encompassed it, and he just encompassed the entire thing.
And then spread it a little further than hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Then going down, then the 91s, Halle Berry, and around this time, Denzel was coming in the game. Right. Because out of Cry Freedom and Glory.
Stephen Biko.
Yeah, Stephen Biko. So,
Malcolm X, of course.
But interestingly enough, man, from 86 when Spike came in, it was Spike and Eddie Murphy.
In New York, right.
In New York.
That was doing
for the next couple of years.
And the Holland Brothers. Because Reggie Huller directed Boomerang. So
that's what I'm saying. Until like Boomerang and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is the two driving factors was Spike and Eddie Murphy for a long time, man. For like a good couple of years, man. Until like 91, when the Strictly Business and all that other stuff started coming into the mix. But most of them like 80s into going into the early 90s. It was every year the black movie was Spike's movie and Eddie Murphy's movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Eddie was the only one, and Spike were the only ones that pushed to use us from the city in the productions. Nobody else was doing that, man. That's why I say he was an exodus. Because at that time, like nobody was giving us an opportunity. Nobody was showing us.
Right. You would go on set, even after that, for many, many years being in the business, myself and yourself, we know behind the camera when we would go on a lot of these sets that weren't Spike sets, that there weren't a lot of people of color. I would be the only guy, on the whole film. And but the thing is, in reality, is a lot. That's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed a lot. Yeah. So
there's probably got the power's in our hands more than ever.
Right, the power's in our hands more than ever. So we do more projects that come from us, but just kind of in terms of the diversity.
But on that upper level of New York Hollywood level, we still not really represented.
Right, we're still fighting for diversity with TV directors, for people of color and women. So that fight is still.
But hip hop, man, hip hop got us in a lot of them doors, man.
So hip hop got us in a lot of doors. What? Okay, so I'll just switch to what. Okay, so what now? We fast forwarding. What's hip hop? Where's hip hop in film now? We know that was a golden era. And sometimes they talk about Joe Budden and just everyday struggle, just all of these things where old school cats got they thinking about the past, and it's like, okay, so let's bring it to the present. We can talk about this is where it come from. This was the Exodus, but where are we now, and how do we go further? Where do we go from now? Like, what should we be doing, and what should we be imparting on younger cats that are coming up trying to do film and music?
I think the things and people like me and you need to do is just need to make sure that we're instilling history and legacy. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's the best. Not the best, but that's what we can do is to make sure, and like this conversation is like, and still like before y'all there was a lot going on, and there's a reason why y'all have these options to be but the digital thing, man, is taking everything over. We're like in singularity right now,
and the thing is, back then we had to go to film school with just this whole thing. Now it's kind of like everything's online.
It's a 4K camera.
That's the 4K camera and all the information that you need to know about a camera, about filmmaking.
YouTube, how to be a filmmaker. Okay, turn the camera on and
that's
you a
it.
filmmaker.
Back then it was like film. It's like you don't got money to buy film. You ain't shooting shit. You don't have the connections. You know what I'm saying? So now it's definitely a lot more accessible than it used to be.
Remember what we had to go through? We had the
boot camp.
If you wanted to edit, you had to rent a room.
Right. And you go way back to the
Steinbeck.
But then to rent that was insane. So it's kind of like
you talk like $100 an hour or something.
You know what I'm saying? And you can download some app for free.
Yep.
And
edit right on your phone.
So
like with graphics and all of that, lower thirds.
It definitely was a boot camp. Even and I find working having one foot in the old school like we have, and then having one foot in what's happening now, and keeping our finger on the pulse. That there's, I find sometimes a mind shift change where how we came up and what we used to go through and do hardcore and work hard, and now sometimes I find people just wanted to come to them a little easier.
Elitist.
Entitlement.
Well, this is the thing. I look at my son. My son is 9 years old. he only knows getting his information from the internet. And he only knows that everything he wants to know has been accessible to him whenever he wants.
Right. Whenever you want to find out, he can go.
He's birthed into that philosophy and that mentality.
Wow.
And so people don't have to fight for information. They don't have to fight to do research. They don't have to fight. So that passion winds up being utilized towards something else or whatever. I don't know what that answer is. The generation gap is big between us.
Right.
We're not passing wisdom to the generations under us.
Right. I mean, because when we PA'd, it was just kind of like hardcore. I remember working on a film, and this AD, I ain't gonna say his name. He would have all the PAs. The call time was 6 a.m.
Yeah.
We had to be there at 5 a.m. And we all had to be on our corners at 5 a.m. The trucks weren't even open yet.
Yeah.
And we out there in the cold. It's wintertime.
Yeah.
It was like a boot camp. It was an army. It was hardcore.
Yeah.
And it was like, and we took it and we asked for more licks. And that's what it was. And now it's kind of like, you couldn't ask somebody to do that shit now.
Yeah.
We couldn't have a bag. We couldn't have anything in our hand.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I love it because it made us tough. We all went through the 40 Acres boot camp where it's kind of like.
I cleaned shit out of a toilet on Clockers. Because we was locations.
Right.
And you can't have a shitty
location.
Smelling set. You know what I'm saying? So I had to clean shit, the Ahab set. When we were outside, I guess a bum
and there's a skyscraper where Ahab was. Now that's downtown Brooklyn. It's crazy. Right.
Yeah.
But we ain't getting that.
Oh, I just peeped that. That's an Apple store.
The Apple store
on Flatbush.
Right,
on Flatbush. That where the florist used to be.
Right, where the florist used to be. Yeah.
That building. That's an Apple store.
That's Apple store. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah. Things have changed in Brooklyn. But so and like you said, that's one of the reasons why we kind of have to cement, what happened before.
Because if the stories are the story is going to keep going forward.
Right.
What happens if you don't tell the backstory, it gets faded out.
Right. And phased out.
And that's the bad thing, that things get phased out. Not just fading, but they get phased out. And I look back at my man Combat just passed, and you know what I'm saying, like Chris Lighty. When these cats passed, they left.
Right.
They left with an enormous amount of
knowledge,
and like especially Chris Lighty, he didn't do interviews, he didn't do all that stuff. So when he passed, he left the culture with an enormous amount of information that will never ever see the light of day now. You know what I'm saying? It'll come through other people.
Right.
But his perspective, he was part of the DNA of putting the culture together.
Right. From the beginning.
From the beginning. So for him to not have. That's why we gotta start telling these stories.
And that's one of the reasons why I kind of did this too, because I just know so many dope creatives. It's just kind of like we've all had conversations, and sometimes I'm like, man, I wish the camera was on to hear some of these conversations. But like you said, we gotta
take, like you building your platform. We gotta take these opportunities, to support you and your platform, support me with my Smithsonian platform.
Right.
People who are just telling the stories, because that's what makes the culture, the texture of the culture more expansive.
Right.
When you have more than just, you're not just looking at the rapper's story or whatever. You're looking at you're looking at the AD story. You're looking at this, because all them stories.
Right.
We
have some stories.
I spent 4 months with Jay when making that Black album.
Right.
That shit alone.
Right.
Like,
I can imagine the stories you have for doing that.
But like, you've been around everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
so just the interaction with the people gives you knowledge.
Right, just being there in those early days, just being there. You didn't have to do anything, but through osmosis, you get in all of this shit. And sometimes I got so much shit once I left and I did other projects, you didn't even realize all the shit that you got until you're on somebody else's set and you're like, this is like, I'm in kindergarten on this other set because it just. You're just taking so much.
I have to cut you. I didn't realize that how well Spike sets were run.
Right.
Till I got on other sets, and I didn't realize how amazing that atmosphere that he creates with everybody on his sets putting their A game on.
Right.
Like everybody there is there to say, I am doing my best work. I'm making my mark with this project.
Right.
And it has happened every single project I've worked on.
It's crazy, and I've heard stories of studio people coming to set because they didn't believe how many pages and how fast he was shooting because it was just it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Woody Allen, he did,
but not stressed. Not stressed
with ease.
Wait, with like it's nothing. Like it was. And that's what amazed me, being able to see that from other sets and working, even big Hollywood.
Right, big, with triple the budget. But now that's somewhat in our DNA. Like I can't get rid of that. It's in me. So to be, to have that ingrained in you is something else. Because now you can't, that stays forever. Mm-hmm. You take it wherever you go. So now it's about imparting that. How do we impart that knowledge and information going forward so we don't take it with us?
So, I can only speak for myself. I'm from East New York. That's where I grew up at.
I was born in the East too.
That's why we good. And
Uncle Murder, East New York.
So, what I do personally, this is gonna be the 5th year that I started doing outdoor movie nights. Every summer. In August, I started doing it working with this nonprofit in East New York called Arts East New York. So they gave me a lot. So with this lot, I did a bunch that first summer.
Where's that lot located?
Picking and Berryman. There's actually a building there.
Really? I mean,
that's why we stopped the festival. But in that lot, I did the very first solar powered green hip hop arts festival in Brooklyn.
Not just East New York and Brooklyn.
Not just East New York, Brooklyn. That was the first because we did the research. We didn't find nobody has done a full solar green powered festival, hip hop arts. And so we did that there in East New York for 2 years. Talib hosted the second year. That same lot, this is where I started the outdoor movie nights. So why I committed to it, I don't know, but I said every Saturday I was going to go there, put this.
Every Saturday. That's something that's something to give back to the East. No, but just the East. Coming from me being born in the East too, there's something about the East. The East is something that people typically don't go back to. And me growing up in the East, I can attest to it because I rarely go back just because the East was real growing up. It was real.
It's still real.
And it's still real. So
but it's just like everywhere. It's gentrifying.
Right.
So that's one thing that motivated me to say, I'm from here. This is where I hone my film skills from. I gotta make sure I'm coming back
and giving back.
And like for example, the interesting side note fact: National Amusements on Linden Boulevard, East New York. Ooh, I did some screenings there and stuff. I always when a black movie come out, like I always do like screenings there and stuff like that. Interesting enough, that theater is a national amusement theater. You've been to Sunrise Cinema. I'm sure coming up. Like,
back in the day, it was that many.
Sunrise Cinema's in Green Acres, more out in that's Long Island, not just Queens. Sunrise Cinema is where Viacom started. And how that happened was, I don't know if you remember, that used to be a drive-in movie theater.
No, I don't remember.
It used to be a drive-in. I remember going to when it was a drive-in movie theater, and then they broke it down and made it into a Cineplex. That was a Redstone family. That was the very first national amusement. That Sunrise Cinema. So that was the very first national amusement. Then they expanded. Then they made their paper. When Viacom was up for sale, they went and bought. I don't know if it was called Viacom, but they bought the company, built Viacom off of that. Which is interesting that's the movie theater where at 14 or 15, I went to see School Days. That was the very first time I went to see a movie by myself. And so that was the very first theater. So it's funny how through my career, I wound up in Viacom. Bounced out. Nickelodeon, MTV, BET, VH1. I directed and produced all of them. You know what I'm saying? So it was that's just interesting, just the trajectory of like that being the spark of my film. Well, my father gave me a camera when I was 9, but that was photography. But that is what sparked film for me. So it's funny how just the natural progression, and I wound up in that system, and then
is that because the journey is, is the journey already set up? I mean, it's like, this journey, and sometimes
it wasn't written.
But I mean, mine started. I don't know if you even know that I wrote a letter to Spike in high school.
How you get started?
Yeah, I wrote a letter to him in high school.
How did you get started?
A friend of mine that I went to school with, college, Andrea Fairweather, she found the letter that I wrote, a copy of it. I have it framed, but that's the beginning. And I wrote in the letter that I wanted to work from, blah blah blah. But
when was this? What year? You was
but all I'm saying is just this journey in terms of wanting to go someplace and getting there, but not having to know how you're gonna get there, but getting there, and knowing where you want to go, like how important that was. I already knew I wanted to direct when I was a PA. I'd be locking up on the 10 blocks away. I knew I wanted to direct, and I know that's where I want the trajectory that I wanted. I knew that was my path. I didn't know how I was gonna get there. So how do we, I wish I can put that in a bottle and just kind of be like, this is what you kind of do, but it's like that journey is what the journey is. Right, and it's totally different.
Snowflake in itself, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own story about how they came in, and then how you get in, and then you got to stay in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
and just being in it for so long,
So you wrote a letter.
I wrote a letter, and
he responded, or like.
Yeah, he sent me. I got a copy of the letter and a postcard. He sent the postcard.
Oh yeah.
So, and I don't know how she found the letter. I'm talking about years later. She called me. She's like, "Hey, Michael, my dad found a letter that you wrote in the attic." This is like 10 years ago. I was like, "What? Let me see it." I was like, "What the hell? How did you get?" But it's just interesting, and and it's important.
So So you got called and you started interning?
No, that then fast forward to my college days. And I was working in the library, and the person that
which college was it?
SUNY Purchase, upstate New York. And the person that ran the library, she said, "Hey, it's this director named Spike Lee that's giving these workshops in Brooklyn. You both from Brooklyn, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, maybe you should go and check him out." And I went to LIU when he was giving workshops, and and that's when I kind of asked, "Hey, so can I be an intern? Like, how does it work?" And that was
what movie was he at? Around that time, Malcolm X.
Yeah,
and that's the first time I was ever on set.
Right, so it was like, I was like, I got credit to work on the film. It was just kind of it was just it was.
What was it like after you left that project?
After I left that project,
because that's where you decide if you want to stay in this.
I mean, it was a no-brainer. It's kind of like this is it. You just kind of and you don't care. You don't care. When I couldn't wait to graduate to be like, okay, so this is what it is, and then you go in grind mode and you just want to work on any and everything, and then you look up and then you hear sitting next to T talk because it's all a blur.
Yeah, it is a blur
ultimately because it happened so fast.
I forgot so much stuff that I've done in my life, man.
Right,
it's crazy.
But it's great to still be in it, still be doing it, and ultimately it's something that I hope to do for the rest of my life.
I mean, all the greats, man, they didn't really do their thing till they hit like they 40s, they late 30s, 40s. Like true directing is a grown man's game.
Right.
Like real directing. Like, we doing cool shit when we're younger and stuff like, but like really directing, understanding emotion and getting into all of the nuances.
You need life experience.
It's a grown person's. I said grown man, grown woman too. It's a grown person's game. You know what I'm saying? You look at Scorsese and all of them. They classics were well in when they was in their older years and stuff.
Right, because it's kind of like just to interpret a script properly.
Yeah,
and get through the syntax.
Emotions.
Yeah, and sometimes you're not mature enough. A lot of times speaking for myself, a lot of times I thought I was ready when I wasn't ready.
When you wasn't ready.
And that's
just
what
what's happening to me now. Right. Like I shot something years ago and we putting it out now for the first time. Just the timing is right, and that's the one thing in this business. In any creative business is timing.
But we so impatient.
Yeah, we not. Our generation
I was impatient. Yeah. I was impatient.
Yeah.
I'm still a little impatient, but I was more impatient back then because we want it to happen and we feel like we're ready, even though we're not ready. And there's levels.
But you were instilled with the need
Right.
to work.
Right.
You were instilled with, you knew it wasn't gonna happen if you didn't
Right.
work.
Right. There's the work ethic element to it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. These days, that work ethic. Because I mean, you got.
It's instant
Shout out to
gratification.
them, Mr. Commodores and Major Hypes. These dudes on Instagram that's making these.
Or the videos, yeah.
You know, making these quick little 1-minute comedy videos, getting hundreds of thousands of views, and you know these dudes are starting to get deals.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So
The game has changed.
The game has changed, and how do you tell people like that that's getting that to do research and understand Melvin Van Peebles, understand
Right.
Oscar Michaud?
Right. I mean, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I did my thesis wrong. But the thing is that our place? Does anybody care? You know what I'm saying? To me, I feel like this is the direction we're going, and where it's kind of like you speak of whether it's the president and kind of like, oh, you need to have this, you need to be this, you can, and this is presidential, and it's kind of like is everything being turned on its head? Where it's kind of like it don't matter what other presidents did. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do, what I want to do, and is it that thing? It's kind of us being not like Joe Buttons or hating, but just kind of saying things have changed, and what worked then, and the conversation I'm gonna give you 10 years ago, I ain't giving you today because it's totally different and is a moot point.
But you know what? Like the gatekeepers are gone. Like the whole society of gatekeepers that existed,
And they're getting younger and younger.
and the creators are getting younger and younger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Snapchat is full of creators.
Right.
If
right.
you think about it, in
Gary
essence,
Vee said
you
that's
know
the
what
new
I'm
going to be
saying?
the new network.
Because every single company needs to tell a story now.
Right.
As a business,
Right.
the business of production and content creation and all of that has now become an all-time high because every kind of business needs
Right.
now a story.
Right.
Every company needs to
Not just media companies.
Yeah, not just media companies. I'm talking every nonprofits. I've been
Right.
working with a lot of nonprofits more.
Right.
the
Because
last
people
couple
are
of
buying
years.
into the story more than they're buying into the product.
Yeah. You can't just like put a website with
Right.
text and
have a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You gotta now tell a story. You gotta be entertaining and whatever. So
And you got to articulate who you are and what you're about.
everybody's in the business of production now.
Right. Now,
You know what I'm saying?
we are individuals. We've always been, but everybody's a brand.
Everybody
You know?
it's part of your brand now to create digital content.
Right.
So that's why, like, between the phones and everything, iPads, everybody has the right to be a filmmaker. Everybody can be a music producer.
Everybody's a mogul.
Everybody can be a mogul. Everybody can have a clothing line. Everybody.
Okay, so
you know
now
what I'm saying?
where does the rubber meet the road? What separates people that do it from people that don't do it, people that execute it versus people that just talk about it? Like what you still need still need a certain skill set.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I think talent will always shine, but this is the thing. This is the difference between hustlers and creators. Creators create, but the majority of creators don't have the hustler mentality. The hustlers are hustle, but they don't have the creative mentality. But the thing about the hustlers is they complete their projects. And that's when if you have product and completed project, you can put it out on and exhibit it and boom, boom, boom. Whereas creators kind of get caught in them
creative
spaces but you don't complete.
Right.
So a lot
because you're creating something else.
Yeah. Because you wind up going to create something else and you're just going wherever your mind is telling you. So you're not completing projects.
Right.
The hustlers are completing projects, so they have projects to put out.
Right.
By the time the one creative does his one creative thing and his heart is all into it and one they feel so passionate about, the hustler did 5 projects already.
Right.
So yeah, the quality's lower, this and that, they not paying it, they not savoring writing, they not doing this, or boom, boom. But by the time you come out with your one, they already got 100,000 views of 5 different things and built their following up and did all
and now
that.
they position themselves to be, to get a deal or to be
and some advance.
Right.
Then while they're in it, they realize, okay, this is a craft.
Right. And this is what I need to do, and I can learn this and that, and I can bring on this person and that person because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what that's my interpretation of what's happening. But one thing I always say, man, you always want to keep that food warm in the oven. than a microwave oven. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that?
Like you cook something in the microwave oven, it gets cold in 5 minutes. You cook something in the oven, it stays warm.
Right. So you got to constantly keep something warm. It's all about what you do next.
Microwave
society now.
Microwave
industry.
Eat it, throw it out.
Right. So
content.
Right. So we talking about history and just what the past and what we did and just being in this game. Does any of that really matter anymore now that we in this microwave age where it's kind of like, I don't care that you work on Malcolm X. I don't care that you work, with Jenna Blackout. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what have you done last week? Is it that type of world? And where does, and is there balance where we can have both?
I think it's something you have to grow into. I think we're in phases. This culture goes in phases. And with the phase we're in now is people are figuring out what this digital space is and what to do and all that other stuff.
Right.
And, in Wishland and Logic, you would think that, like when we came up, let's talk about music. When we came up with music and stuff, we knew we had to know who Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and all of that was, even knowing Jodeci.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Something was in us that we still knew we had to respect.
And Jodeci knew they had to respect Marvin Gaye.
It's not like that now. Every single generation starts from zero.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We're not like, we didn't get to 20 and then we stopped at 20 and this generation on top of us went to 40.
Right.
Every generation keeps starting from zero.
Right. But that's not the perception that a lot of people have. Some people think that whether it's film or hip hop or music, that they started at 40. Not at 0.
Yeah. They thinking they start.
Right. That's where the respect. That's where the respect is in there.
Yeah, that's where the elitism is too.
Right.
It's like the entitlement. I keep saying elitism. Entitlement is, but that comes from. We don't see. It's hard for us to get that because we haven't been raised
through this
on this, knowing that at any given time I can find the fuck out whatever I want to find out.
Yeah, and I could kind of contact almost anybody.
Anybody. I've done so much business on Instagram. Where it's like if I was emailing and texting and calling the same people, I wouldn't get the same results as much as they DM me back
quickly. And it's insane. Somebody hit me. It's how we consume stuff is so interesting because we email people don't DM me if it's. I respond to emails and that's business to me. DMing, I'm learning that that's business too now because that's not.
So it's changing. It's the digital space is changing us.
Brooklyn's changing.
Brooklyn's changing. Brooklyn's changed. Brooklyn is done. I'm sorry.
Damn, it's like that. We in Bed-Stuy, baby. Brooklyn. I mean, it ain't done. It ain't never gonna be done.
It ain't gonna never be done. But this phase, this period of the next couple of years there's not gonna be. I mean, I just saw the thing today, man. Like a studio, $2,800 for a 1-bedroom studio.
Oh yeah.
This is a attack. This ain't it ain't just a comedy and boom.
Right. Yeah. No,
this is an attack.
Right.
These motherfuckers want us out.
It's class warfare.
Yeah, it's class warfare. They're raising them so that a period of time, there's no way creators can be sustained in this environment.
And where do creatives go now? Where are creatives?
Jersey.
Just Jersey, that's where creatives are going?
LA, Atlanta. But even you hear anybody talk about Atlanta. It's
changed. It's saturated. And now it's getting there's gentrification in Atlanta also. So a lot of people are moving outside of Atlanta.
Yeah. What I did was I just didn't care for all of that. I didn't care for all that game. So what I did out in Jersey, where I lived, this small town, I developed a digital platform for the town called Bay Life TV. And started a marketing firm.
Nice.
So I think that's what it's about. Narrowcasting to smaller specific markets and building content and for those markets. Because I can take the same system anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for other smaller towns that I can take the same system and build it with. My program with the city is more of a small business administrative tool. We help promote the small businesses and we're helping change the narrative of the town
Right.
with the content and the stuff that we're creating
Okay.
on that specific network. But that's small. That town is only 65,000 people.
Right.
I'm focused. That company is solely focused on young people.
Right. Right.
Like, you know, that game of trying to go wide.
Right. It's all about niche now.
Yeah, it's like find your niche. I say this every time, man. To be successful, you gotta have a fan base of some sort, right? You gotta have people that's following you. If you can get 1,000 people that's following you hardcore, they about you. They about what you do. They watching your projects. They see all that stuff. Man, you sell them thousands of people something for $20.
That's $20,000.
That's
actually what Brian Leslie is doing
That's
now.
a cup. That's you know what I'm saying. If you're
a cup,
a T-shirt, that's the game. You know
that's
what I'm
the
saying?
game. That's the new game.
That's the game. Like, find your tribe. Hug the hell out of them. Like, just develop your tribe.
Right.
Don't worry about trying to get the million people involved.
Right. I mean, that's what everybody trying to get the.
They're trying to go
they're
wild
trying to hit
and boom, boom. Yeah, I think the game is about like finding your tribe. You're not a starving artist if in a year you get that 1,000 people to give you over a year $100.
Right.
$100 is a mug, a T-shirt,
right.
an album, or dropping a just
short
over
film.
the year.
Right.
If you could just get that and turn that 1,000 into 2,000.
Right.
Turn that 1,000 into 5,000.
Right.
Right. That's the game we gotta play, and you can have the attitude of not caring about anybody and what they gotta say because you got your fans.
Right. And you just
they rocking with you.
Right. And this artist says that's what they've been doing that for years. Is they rock with their fans. They touring. You know, their fans support them, and they've been doing music forever. You know, for their base fans.
Buster, I was in this conversation with Buster and Plies in Atlanta, and Buster. Small story short, Buster basically was telling Plies like your catalog is what really matters at the end of the day, because he was telling him about like this dude in Dubai, this rich dude in Dubai, had him come out, paid for him to come out, gave him really these extravagant gifts, all because this guy was like 30, all because he remembered as a teenager LONS,
Right.
Woo-ha,
Right.
and all this stuff. This is some rich oil
Right.
dude, you know what I'm saying? But like, all he asked him to do is come out and do 5 of his songs. So flew him out to Dubai, doing this, and that's what he was telling Plies. Is like, yo, that song is 20 years old.
Right.
You
still pay dividends.
Yeah, so it's like that's the instant gratification culture that's happening now. Like, they're not setting legacies up. They're not setting.
It's not about longevity.
Foundation. Yeah, they're not like they're having the selfishness of looking at their life as their own culture, not realize they're part and representing of a bigger culture. What you're doing over here is going to affect these people over here. You say Percocet over here. You don't feel no ways that 1,000 people, technically kids, might possibly be taking Percocet now that you pushing this. So it's like this. Everybody don't give a fuck about each other no more, and that's what the culture's not looked at as a community.
Right.
You know,
it's more individualized now.
Yeah, everybody's for self. Everybody's like, I'm getting mine, and that's the attitude. And you know, when we was up, we was living in the culture. Like we was living. We knew we had a responsibility to be true to it. We knew we had a responsibility to know your shit. It just don't seem like the case no more. It's like literally, we have people who start today on something. We'll go through their YouTubes and all that, research for a week or two, and within a month, do one video or something like that, and now they are thrusted into the pantheon of, you know what I'm saying? Like, of
the spotlight.
Of the spotlight and the narrative of the culture. Right. And that's what
without having put in any of the work.
Yeah, without having to care for the research.
But so what does that look like? I mean, it's kind of like, not to say that's what happened with Trump. Is it sustainable when somebody had them put in the work? He hasn't been in Congress, the Senate. He hasn't put in the work, and now you thrust to this position. Is it sustainable, or will it implode eventually?
It'll implode eventually. Like, all this shit Trump is doing is just.
And in terms of, I'll just use him as an example, but in terms of creatives or people that want to get on, that haven't built a foundation, eventually will that crumble if they move up too fast?
Well, it's no. You're saying a key point when they move up too fast. Like that's why every year, like first it was the ringtone rappers and all this other stuff, and we are all these people.
Right.
That's so it's like
people don't even do ringtones like heavy like that.
Yeah. Because you can download the shit on your phone. But
it
was the I lost my train of thought. I was about to say some hot ass.
Oh, well, damn!
I was about to say some cool shit, some hot shit.
Fire.
But yeah, I just the entitlement thing. It's not nobody's fault. It's digital's fault because this is happening across the board, man. This ain't just film. And every culture, every industry, everything are all going through the same thing. And that digital, the singularity is taking over right now, man. The Instagram and Facebook is the Matrix.
Wow,
it is the Matrix we saw in the movie. When you're not on it, you still have a digital avatar living in that space
over there, and you ain't even
So what if the program doing some ill shit to you? Like when you're not on it, it start doing shit, posting shit for you, and then you go back and turn yourself off. Like you don't know what the fuck is going on. But
conspiracy theory.
But it's truly it truly is the Matrix.
And this is just scratching the surface. 10 years. What will this look like in 10 years?
Yeah, because I guarantee you, at this point, most of us have been following people on our Instagram and Facebook. We done seen their kids get birthed. We done seen them go through deaths. We done seen them
they break up with their girlfriend.
Break up. You know, we done seen all this shit with certain
we never met them in our lives.
Never met them a day in our lives. But like you care. like somebody dies that you never met. You actually gonna be sad, and you know what I'm saying? That's the Matrix.
Right. Damn.
This shit is the Matrix, yo. This shit is the Matrix. It's like the Matrix.
So did you take the blue pill or the red pill?
Neo had to go and save. He had to go save people. I try to make my content about saving people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So was that the red pill or the blue? That's the red pill. No, that's the blue pill.
What was it? Yeah, what was it?
Which was it? You take the red pill. And the Matrix, you live in the Matrix. You take the blue pill and you see what the Matrix really is.
Okay, so
or the other way around. I'm not sure.
So I see what the Matrix is. I dip in.
You dip in and dip out.
Do my work.
Right, and then you dip out, and then you detach. You don't become a slave to it because there's some people that are slaves.
Yeah, it's a daily fight.
It's a daily fight.
It's a daily fight because my Instagram profile is a different person. It's a whole other person.
Damn, you fucking me up.
No, because it is. I mean, essentially,
I never thought of it that way.
It is a whole other person, like that is interpreted a different way. That's saying things a certain because you're being interpreted.
Could say some shit that you wouldn't say.
But you're being interpreted by the people that go to your page, so you don't have the control of your narrative.
Right.
You have control, but you can't. A million people looking at your page. You don't control.
Right. They interpret what they want to interpret it as, but that could be true or not.
Yeah, be true or not.
And we're at the point where that's okay with us now. And we're okay with having multiple narratives out there.
We're okay with making superficial decisions on people from what we see in their social media activity. Right. We make full sweeping judgments of who people are, what they about, and all that shit.
But I haven't spoken to them ever in our lives.
I haven't spoken to them or interacted with them. So people feel like they on a dating scene. People feel like they have options,
right? Because
so they're not committing to relationships
because they feel like there's people that like it. I mean, it's that's why it's important to detach. You know,
every once in a while I go a week or two without touching it. But see, this is the thing. We're creators and we're in the business of promoting our art. And
so we have to kind of but it's important. I mean, that's one of the reasons why painting is definitely helps me to kind of step out and just kind of detach and create, just to create, not create to post it to get, what I'm saying? Because there's that comments.
What does it do for you? What happens to you when you create?
I mean, like I told you earlier, it kind of saved me. I was in a creative funk. I was kind of like the business of filmmaking, of pitching, of all the stuff that we do. Is a business, and sometimes the business can get away in the way of creativity, and it kind of burnt me out where I didn't really want to create anymore because it was so so much attached to commerce and all this other bullshit, you know, and you know, once I started painting, it kind of let me create for creation's sake, not to pitch it, not for people to come and see. It was just for me. It's kind of like when Prince used to produce all these songs. He got hundreds of songs that he never released, but it was for him.
It was for him.
You know, it's for his soul, because it's like breathing. You know, if I don't create something, you know, we kind of, you know, it can be, you know, it's kind of like breathing. We kind of die if we don't create.
True. Is creativity a form of childhood?
Is it a form of childhood
that we fight to keep instilled in our adult selves?
No, I think it's even deeper than that. For me, it's a spiritual thing. It's kind of like we're creators. We're creators because we want to be like the ultimate creator, God. You know, to me, we create because that's what we were put in. We were created, and we were created to create. You know, I know it's back to. I think the child element is just the innocence aspect. We don't hear all the noise, and we don't have to do all the things we don't want to do, because children can do whatever they want. You know, that, but to me, is a really deep spiritual. And when we create something that is, sometimes I know we write and we shoot something, and we don't, when it's amazing, we don't even remember. We just was in this moment.
You turn. Do you find yourself in moments that you know when you tap in, you are clearly in another space of mind. You're clearly in a different existence.
Yeah. You know, getting in that pocket. Sometimes you have to kind of, you know, you got to kind of figure out what elements you need and what you need to do to get yourself closer to that pocket. But I've been in that pocket where sometimes I'm writing something, I can't even write fast enough because it's just there. And sometimes if I'm writing something a little deeper, you know, I want, you know, you ask, you know, to be led, because we're ultimately vessels. You know, we're vessels. It's not really our work. I always say our creativity, our gift isn't for us, it's for someone else. So if we don't give it, then somebody else is not going to get what they need to become who they need to become.
Yeah.
You know, so
how do you get in that pocket? How do you get into that pocket?
I mean, to me, if I would pick the most important thing that I do is prayer. You know, and just in terms of being led, and in terms of, you know, cutting down the noise, unplugging, and just kind of being in a space where, you know, you don't have all the noise. Social media is noise. It's a lot of noise from all of these people that you don't know, that's making interpretation on you, that's now giving you judgment on yourself. You know, so it's about quieting and cutting all of that off, and just kind of, you know, hearing that true voice in you, whether it's from God, whether it's inside you in the spiritual, but hearing something that's authentic and true, and that is coming from a pure place versus from a place of negativity or judgment or envy.
I'm gonna ask you.
Action, dog.
What is that? Everybody has had to have that moment where you commit to being an artist. Like, there had to be that, you know, you build up to it, you try things, but you don't necessarily say you're an artist until that one thing, or that one thing that snaps, or that moment you stroke the brush and realize, wow, I actually have my own technique, or I have my own vision. I have my, like, what was that moment for you where you actually said, I am committed as an artist?
I mean, I think those are, they're multi times, because sometimes we're like, fuck it, you know, so different things, whether it's me being
so
young.
then that keeps happening. You
gotta constantly reaffirm, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. That I'm a creative. That I'm art. You have to because constantly there's gonna be roadblocks that's gonna stop you and say, no, you're not. You ain't no, you know. So from when I was young, telling stories to my brother and my dad, I used to, when I was really young, like 12. That's where it started. It's kind of like, you know, I used to make up stories.
So you understood that you had to give a storytelling.
No, it's just because I spent a lot of time alone, even though I had 5 brothers and 2 sisters, because I was the youngest. So I had to entertain myself. So I would make up stories, and then eventually I started telling other people's stories. You know, so I think that was the beginning of, you know, that, you know, storytelling, and that of something
embodying being an artist.
I didn't think I understood anything. I think it was something I was able to do, and people were able to give me attention for.
Okay.
But I don't think it was I can be an artist because that is such a even working with Spike. The artist thing wasn't there. I wasn't an artist yet. I was learning. I was taking stuff in, but I didn't think of myself as an artist yet because I feel like I didn't have command of. I didn't even know what an artist was. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of taking stuff in. I think that happened later in life. Me saying I wouldn't be an artist because it's something that has to be very intentional because you have to sacrifice a lot. You know, so I think every time I sacrificed to the point where she left, that's when I affirmed that I'm an artist because we choosing this versus that. So I think it's an ongoing thing, and I think this is, reaffirming it too. Deciding to do a podcast because I wanted to do it and I want to talk to other creatives, just to say that I'm not crazy, right? Are you crazy? No, but like Mike, you know what I'm saying? Because ultimately that's what it is. It's us reaffirming that we not
our processes and how our brain thinks is not crazy.
We're not out in the world by ourselves here. Like they are crazy, right? We're not crazy. So it's just kind of having that kinship of okay, I'm an artist. You know what? I'm an artist. Because, T's an artist too. So, yeah, he's an artist. Howard's an artist. And being okay with being an artist and be like, it's okay. Because society tells you you're an artist. But, like, what channel your movie show? Like, that's what society's going to do.
Yeah.
So.
Like, if you're not on that level, then you can't sit and run around and call yourself that.
Right.
But,
But it's not up to them.
It's not up to them.
Yeah. So we have to constantly.
This goes back into what I was saying, though. When you have your own fan base and you have your own followers
and your supporters,
nobody can't tell you nothing, man. Like nobody can't tell you not who you are, what you want to be,
or what you're gonna be,
or what you want to be, or whatever. You get them followers and you just ride them out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Into the sunset.
Into the sunset.